Ooh, that looks tasty. My fellow bunnies, this is our time. Our might, our power will allow us to expand across this land, raise our towers, control the fish, the wood, control the mountains, and rule all with an iron paw. Yes, Fritz, when we're done with that, yes, we can take the rainbow up to the sky. Okay, all right, that's great. Welcome, folks, to the Hungry Gamers back with another game review, and today we are talking about Bunny Kingdom, designed by Richard Garfield, with art by Paul Meffayan, and published by Yellow. And I do apologize if I mispronounced any of those names. Now, before I get started, please do make sure you've turned on your Klingon subtitles, because if I make any rules errors, that is where you will find the corrections. Now, what Bunny Kingdom is it is an area control card drafting game in which you are trying to make your kingdom of bunny rabbits the greatest kingdom of bunny rabbits in both the land and, if you're using the expansion, in the sky as well. Now, if you are not interested in how this game is played and just want to jump ahead to my final thoughts, then you're going to want to go to the timestamp on the screen right now. For those of us still here, let's talk about how this game works. So the game is going to be played over 4 rounds. What's going to happen is each round you will have either 10 or 12 cards given out to you in your hand. And the difference is simply based on the number of players that you have in the game. And what's going to happen is you will be looking at your cards and you will be picking one of the cards, then passing the rest of your cards to another player around the table. And then after everyone has drafted their card, they will flip over and play their card. And there's a variety of things that you might draw. You might draw something like this here, which gives you a space on the grid, which is actually just off the camera, but what that'll mean is you are simply finding that space and placing one of your bunnies on the space, and you now control it. It's important for me to say here that once you have claimed an area, you cannot lose it. The only exception to that is it is possible to get a camp, and that camp will wind up giving you temporary control over a space. And then if someone gets the actual card, then they are able to take that away from you. But other than that, once you have a space, you cannot lose it. Or you might claim a space like this, in which you do the exact same thing, except what it's telling you is that space produces a certain resource. You can get cards that will allow you to add a resource to an existing space that you have, or you might have cards that allow you to build cities, either wherever it is that you already have a bunny rabbit controlling, or sometimes it simply gives you control of an existing city like this place right here. However, whatever it is, you look at the number on it, and you'll be able to place out a city on a space that your bunny controls with the number of spires that correlates directly to the number on the card. And that'll matter when you get to scoring in each round, and I'll explain that shortly. Or you might have a treasure card, which tells you how many points it is worth at the end of the game. Or you might have cards like this, which are various in-game scoring conditions. In this case, it is you get 4 points for each fief you control with at least 3 territories at the end of the game. Now, let's talk about what fiefs are and territories and what all of that happens to mean. A fief is simply 2 or more territories connected orthogonally. So in this case, this would be a fief of 3, while this would be a fief of 2. I'll also point out that diagonal does not count. So in this case, you would have absolutely nothing whatsoever. Then when you come to the end of each round, you will score all of your fiefs on the board and you will gain points. And you're going to be tracking your points right over here simply by using bunnies, and you place them out on the board. And as you can see, you can earn a whole bunch of points in this game. However, let's talk about how that scoring actually works. So what's going to happen is at the end of each round, you are going to score each of the fiefs that you control. And scoring a fief is very, very simple. What you're going to do is you are going to multiply the strength of your fief. The strength of your fief is the number of spires you have in your fief by the wealth of your fief. And the wealth of your fief are the different resources that your fief produces. So in this case, this fief here produces wood, and this fief here produces carrots. And I will note that that should not be there. So in this case, this fief would be worth 2 points because 2 spires times 1 resource. Note its type of resource, not number, equals 2. So that would be 2 points. Well, this one over here would be 1 point because you have 1 spire multiplied by 1 type of resource that is controlled. However, if we also controlled this one here, this would also be worth 2 points because we have 1 times 2 different types of resources. Now, if the fief was like this, then it would be worth 4 points. And you get the idea. The more towers you have and the more resources you have, the more valuable a fief is. Now, this one here would be worth 1, 2, 3, 4 times 2, so 8 points for that fief. At the end of each round, after everyone's drafted all of their cards and played all of their cards, you're going to wind up scoring all of your fiefs. And you're going to do that 4 times, and then at the end of the game, you will score all of your additional in-game scoring cards. And that is it. The only other thing I want to tell you now is there is an expansion to the game called Bunny Kingdoms in the Sky, which adds a new board where you literally get to take a rainbow up into the sky and dominate the land up here as well. So, what do I like about this game? First off, I really like the components. These little bunny meeples are just adorable. They are just the cutest thing. These little cities and towers and stuff that you get to make, these are a lot of fun too. I'm slightly tempted to get them painted. I'm not going to because there's so many of them. The map itself is colorful. It looks good. It's nice to look at. And the main board is very easy to find what is where because it does have going all the way around the coordinates of the map. I think the art is just fantastic. Everything about it, even the ones that are just items, the way they've done the background, they put it on a scroll, it's all just stunning to look at. The artwork is amazing in this game. Like, there are definitely times when I stop and I just look at these cards. Again, there's so many cards in the game, you certainly have a lot to look at. I also appreciate relative simplicity of the game. You're going to take a card, pass your card, play a card. And the only variant on that is sometimes if you're building something, you have to wait till the end of the round to put it out there, but that is it. That is all you are doing. It is so simple. But what makes the game work is that within that simplicity, there is so much going on, and the game ramps up in an incredibly delightful and satisfying way. You see, at the beginning of the game, as you're passing cards, you're looking at what the other bunny kingdoms on the map might be doing, and you're pretty easily able to say, you know what, I think I better take this one, not that one, because I don't want to pass them that card. And it's pretty simple to do. But then by the time you get to the third and fourth round, you're making incredibly hard choices because pretty much anything that you pass on is going to help the other player in some way. And you get to start trying to figure out how it is you can best help yourself while assist the next players the least. And this is particularly fun in a 2-player game, which is how I've played this game the most, because what's going to happen is the game is a little bit different. There's a step where you have an extra draw pile, and so you're going to pick a card, discard a card, and then pass your cards to the other player, and every round you're going to be adding one more card that no one has seen into your hand. So in the 2-player game, it's really fun because you're absolutely knowing I'm going to give this player something that is going to help them, and I have to hope that what I don't take that maybe doesn't help them, they don't realize that, oh, that might help me. And there's a really fun mental game that goes along with the 2-player game and to a lesser extent in the 3 or 4-player game. So all of that is just fantastic. I think it's a wonderful drafting and area control game because of this next thing I'm going to say. And it works really well for me and my wife that once you take something, it is yours. You don't have that aggressiveness that you can get in some area control games where most area control games really, where someone comes in and can take it back from you. No, that's not what this game is about. It's about creating your plan, drafting well, and figuring out how to best earn points at the end of the game. And it is very satisfying, and I really enjoy that. I also really like what the expansion Bunny Kingdoms in the Sky adds. It adds a second little board here that you put off on the side, and it just adds more resources and a few new things that just add a slight tweak to the difficulty of the game. Also, I'll point out it does raise it to a 5-player game, which I have not gotten to play, though I do hope to sometime. I think it'll just be hilarious to have all these bunnies everywhere. The expansion does what I think expansions are meant to do. It adds something to the game. It doesn't change the bulk of the core. It does not change how the game is scored, how the game is played. It just adds a few new things. And the few new things it adds are easy to figure out, and every single one of them is for the better. All of that I like. What are my quibbles with the game? My first quibble has to do with the expansion, and that is it has changed the targeting of your bunnies. Whereas in the base game, you have this very simple A through J, 1 through 10. So A10, boom, I know I'm going there. D5, I know I'm going there. Very easy. But for some reason, I'm sure there's a good reason, when you get into the sky, it's just this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clouds, and then you go across and you have to look at the card and figure out which space you're connecting to. And it also changes up how fiefs are scored, because this is next to these and these instead of just one thing. And it's just enough different, and the targeting and how that works, that makes the game kind of slow down a little bit the first few times that you're playing with this board. And I don't understand why that was done. I'm sure there is a design reason. I'm sure someone's going to tell me in the comments, well, obviously hungry, it's because of this. But to me, that is a little bit of a miss. And then the only other thing I'm going to throw out as a quibble is not so much a quibble, but a warning. So here's the thing. This game looks very sweet and nice and friendly. There's rainbows and there's castles and friendly looking dragons and bunnies riding Pegasi. Well, this is not a nice game. I mean, you are going after each other, and you are going to be doing hate drafting, and you are going to be doing everything you can to mess with their plan as much as possible. And that might not be for you. The other thing that I will say as a quibble is, again, because this game looks so cute and so sweet, you think, oh, this is a game for me to play with my children. No, it's not, because even though the game is simple, and it is simple, there is so much to think about as you get later and later in the game. And so you really do have to be a little more familiar with how games work, and have played more games to really, I think, get the most out of this. And this will lead me to my last quibble is, like with many area control and drafting style games, this game can suffer from analysis paralysis, because as you're choosing your cards and what is it that I want to play, gosh, do I want to go ahead and claim this spot here, or do I want to set myself up for later where I can build a 2-spire tower somewhere in one of my fiefs, or do I need to get some more wealth by claiming some of this fishing territory, or maybe I just want to get some treasure for points at the end of the game, and maybe I want to go down a treasure path and try to get as much treasure as I can, or maybe I just need to start getting some in-game scoring and get those now because it's going to be worth beaucoup points at the end of the game. You can absolutely fall into a trap of staring at the board and doing nothing. So it's just something to be careful about. But that's it. I think this is a game that if you like drafting and you like area control, but what you don't like about area control is people coming in and literally taking your stuff, then this is a fantastic game to check out. Honestly, I think if you enjoy drafting games, then you should probably check this one out anyway. I think the 2-player game is very satisfying. It is different than the multiplayer, but it is a very satisfying, different than the 3 or 4 or 5 player is what I meant to say. And there is just something so delightful about having this game, and then suddenly you have all these Easter egg colored bunnies all over the board just kind of hopping around, and it is just so delightful to look at. Really, I really enjoy this game. This is one that's absolutely staying on my shelf and is not going to go anywhere. I honestly hope that some more expansions get released for this one, and I will absolutely pick them up without question, because I do think this game is that enjoyable. And absolutely one that I hope one day I can take to a con and get a 5-player game, because I think it'll be ridiculous. But there you have it, folks. As always, if I made any errors in the rules description, please let me know in the comment with a timestamp. I'll get that into the Klingon subtitles. As always, if this video was useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.